Hello everyone! Today we'll have a new lesson about programming languages that start with letter J. J. The J programming language, developed in the early 1990s by Kenneth E. Iverson and Roger Wee, is an array programming language based primarily on APL, also by Iverson. J is a very terse array programming language and is most suited to mathematical and statistical programming, especially when performing operations on matrices. It has also been used in extreme programming and network performance analysis. Like John Bacchus languages, FP and FL, J supports function-level programming via its tacit programming features. Unlike most languages that support object-oriented programming, J's flexible hierarchical namespace scheme, where every name exists in a specific locale, can be effectively used as a framework for both class-based and prototype-based object-oriented programming. G#. Visual J# was an implementation of the J# programming language that was a transitional language for programmers of Java and Visual J++ languages, so they could use their existing knowledge and applications with the .NET framework. It was introduced in 2002 and discontinued in 2007 with support for the final release of the product continuing until October 2017. J# worked with Java bytecode as well as source, so it could be used to transition applications that use third-party libraries even if their original source code was unavailable. It was developed by the Hyderabad-based Microsoft India Development Center at High Tech City in India. J++. Visual J++ is Microsoft's discontinued implementation of Java. Syntax, keywords, and grammatical conventions were the same as Java's. It was introduced in 1996 and discontinued in January 2004, replacing it to a certain extent with G# and C#. JADE. JADE is a proprietary object-oriented software development and deployment platform product from the New Zealand-based JADE Software Corporation, first released in 1996. It consists of the JADE programming language, integrated development environment and debugger, integrated application server, and object database management system. Designed as an end-to-end development environment to allow systems to be coded in one language from the database server down to the clients, it also provides API for other languages including .NET Framework, Java, C or C++, and web services. Although a free limited license is available for development, using the JADE platform requires per process fees to be paid. JAL. JAL, or just another language, is a Pascal-like programming language and compiler that generates executable code for PIC microcontrollers. It is a free-format language with a compiler that runs on Linux, MS Windows, and MS-DOS or OS X support. It is configurable and extendable through the use of libraries and can even be combined with PIC assembly language. JAL was originally created by Wouter van Ogen and released as free software under the GNU or General Public License in 2003. Janus, Concurrent Constraint Programming Language. Janus is a computer programming language partially described by K. Khan and V.J.A. Saraswat in the paper Actors as a Special Case of Concurrent Constraint or Logic Programming in 1990. It is a concurrent constraint language without backtracking. Janus, the programming language, is named after Janus, the two-faced Roman god, because every logical variable in Janus has its two faces, two aspects that can be passed as arguments. These are called the asker and the teller. These represent respectively the right to ask the value of the variable or some characteristic of the value, and the right to tell the value or to tell some constraint on what the value can be. The asker and teller aspects can be passed around as arguments independently of each other. Neither right implies the other right. Janus is time-reversible computing programming language. Janus is a time-reversible programming language written at Caltech in 1982. The operational semantics of the language were formally specified, together with a program inverter and an invertible self-interpreter, in 2007 by Tetsuo Yokoyama and Robert Glock. A Janus inverter and interpreter is made freely available by the TOPS research group at DQ. Another Janus interpreter was implemented in Prolog in 2009. Janus is an imperative programming language with a global store. There is no stack or heap allocation. Janus is a reversible programming language as it supports deterministic forward and backward computation by local inversion. JASS. The Warcraft Third World Editor is the built-in level editor for the real-time strategy game Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, and its expansion set Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. Incorporating the core mechanics of the level editor of Blizzard's Entertainment's previous strategy game StarCraft, it allows users to create and customize their own maps with a high level of detail and flexibility. The editor has been used in creating several popular custom maps, including Defense of the Ancients. The level editor was substantially improved for the Frozen Throne and allowed users to create cutscenes supporting voiceovers. Advanced features of the editor allow for custom models, tilesets, and icons. The editor also supports Blizzard's JASS scripting language for programming complex actions otherwise not supported by the graphical interface. Java. Java is a class-based, object-oriented programming language that is designed to have as few implementation dependencies as possible. It is a general-purpose programming language intended to let application developers write once, run anywhere Aurora, meaning that compiled Java code can run on all platforms that support Java without the need for recompilation. Java was originally developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems, which has since been acquired by Oracle and released in 1995 as a core component of Sun Microsystems' Java platform. The original and reference implementation Java compilers, virtual machines, and class libraries were originally released by Sun under proprietary licenses. As of May 2007, in compliance with the specifications of the Java community process, Sun had relicensed most of its Java technologies under the GNU General Public License. Oracle offers its own hotspot Java virtual machine. JavaFX Script. JavaFX Script was a scripting language designed by Sun Microsystems, forming part of the JavaFX family of technologies on the Java platform. JavaFX targeted the rich Internet application domain, competing with Adobe Flex and Microsoft Silverlight, specializing in rapid development of visually rich applications for the desktop and mobile markets. JavaFX Script works with integrated development environments such as NetBeans, Eclipse, and IntelliJ IDEA. JavaFX is released under the GNU General Public License by the Sun-sponsored Open JFX project. JavaFX Script used to be called F3 for Form Follows Function. F3 was primarily developed by Chris Oliver, who became a Sun employee through their acquisition of Beyond Technology Corporation in September 2005. Its name was changed to JavaFX Script and it became open source at Java 1 2007. JavaScript scripting language. A scripting or script language is a programming language for a special runtime environment that automates the execution of tasks. The task could alternatively be executed one by one by a human operator. The scripting languages are often interpreted rather than compiled. The term scripting language is also used loosely to refer to dynamic high-level general-purpose interpreted languages such as Perl, PowerShell, Python, and TCL. With the term script, often used for small programs or up to a few thousand lines of code in such languages, or in domain-specific languages such as the text processing language, SED, and OGG. Some of these languages were originally developed for use within a particular environment and later developed into portable domain-specific or general-purpose languages. Conversely, many general-purpose languages have dialects that are used as a scripting language. JASS or programming language. JASS is a rule engine for the Java platform that was developed by Ernest Friedman Hill of Sandia National Labs. It is a superset of the Eclipse programming language. It was first written in late 1995. The language provides rule-based programming for the automation of an expert system and is frequently termed as an expert system shell. In recent years, intelligent agent systems have also developed which depend on a similar capability. JCL. Job Control Language or JCL is a name for scripting languages used on IBM mainframe operating systems to instruct the system on how to run a batch job or start a subsystem. More specifically, the purpose of JCL is to say which programs to run, using which files or devices for input or output, and at times to also indicate under what conditions to skip a step. Gene. Gene was a dialect of the JAWS programming language developed for and used on ICT 1900 series computers in the late 1960s and early 1970s. It was implemented under the Minimop operating system. It was used at the University of Southampton. Gene was an acronym derived from JAWS Extended and Adapted for 1900. It was operated from a teletype terminal. Join Java. Join Java is a programming language based on the join pattern that extends the standard Java programming language with the join semantics of the join calculus. It was written at the University of South Australia within the Reconfigurable Computing Lab by Dr. Von Ilstein. JAWS. JAWS, an acronym for Johnyak Open Shop System, was one of the first interactive time-sharing programming languages. It pioneered a number of features that would become common in languages from the 1960s into the 1980s, including line numbers as both editing instructions and targets for branches, statements predicated by Boolean decisions, and a built-in editor that can perform instructions in direct or immediate mode, a conversational user interface. Joule. Joule is a concurrent data flow programming language designed for building distributed applications. It is so concurrent that the order of statements within a block is irrelevant to the operation of the block. Statements are executed whenever possible based on their inputs. Everything in Joule happens by sending messages. There is no control flow. Instead, the programmer describes the flow of data, making it a data flow programming language. JOVIAL. JOVIAL is a high-level programming language similar to ALGOL, specialized for developing embedded systems or specialized computer systems designed to perform one or a few dedicated functions, usually embedded as part of a larger, more complete device, including mechanical parts. It was a major system programming language through the 1960s and 70s. Jovial was developed as a high-order programming language starting in 1959 by a team at System Development Corporation. SDC headed by Jules Swartz to compose software for the electronics of military craft. The name Jovial is an acronym for Joule's own version of the International Algebraic Language. International Algorithmic Language or IAL was a name proposed originally for ALGOL 58. According to Swartz, the language was originally called OVL, but this was opposed for various reasons. Jovial was then suggested with no meaning attached to the J. Joy. The Joy programming language in computer science is a purely functional programming language that was produced by Manfred von Don at La Trobe University in Melbourne, Australia. Joy is based on composition of functions rather than lambda calculus. It has turned out to have many similarities to Forth, due not to design, but to a sort of parallel evolution and convergence. It was also inspired by the function-level programming style of Jean-Baptiste F.P. JScript. JScript is Microsoft's dialect of the ECMAScript standard that is used in Microsoft's Internet Explorer. JScript is implemented as an active scripting engine. This means that it can be plugged in to all automation applications that support active scripting, such as Internet Explorer, Active Server Pages, and Windows Script Host. It also means such applications can use multiple active scripting languages such as JScript, VBScript, or PerlScript. JScript was first supported in the Internet Explorer 3.0 browser released in August 1996. Its most recent version is JScript 9.0, included in Internet Explorer 9. JScript 10.0 is a separate dialect, also known as JScript .NET, which adds several new features from the abandoned 4th edition of the ECMAScript standard. It must be compiled for .NET Framework version 2 or version 4, but static type annotations are optional. JScript.NET. JScript.NET is a .NET programming language developed by Microsoft. Firstly, JScript is a scripting language, and as such, programs or more suggestive scripts can be executed without the need to compile the code first. Secondly, JScript has a strong foundation in Microsoft's ActiveX COM technologies and relies primarily on ActiveX components to provide much of its functionality, including database access via ADO, file handling, so on. Whereas JScript.NET uses the .NET framework to provide equivalent functionality for backwards compatibility or for where no .NET equivalent library exists. JScript.NET still provides full access to ActiveX objects via .NET or COM interrupt using both the activist object constructor and the standard methods of the .NET Type class. Julia. Julia is a high-level, high-performance dynamic programming language while it is a general-purpose language and can be used to write any application. Many of its features are well-suited for numerical analysis and computational science. Julia is a garbage collected, uses eager evaluation, and includes efficient libraries for floating point calculations, linear algebra, random number generation, and regular expression matching. Jython. Jython is an implementation of the Python programming language designed to run on the Java platform. The implementation was formerly known as JPython until 1999. Jython programs can import and use any Java class. Except for some standard modules, Jython programs use Java classes instead of Python modules. Jython includes almost all of the modules in the standard Python programming language distribution, lacking only some of the modules implemented originally in C. That's all for the programming languages that start with letter J. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.